Hi, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is once again the edition of Open Mic Night with the Driving to the Top gang. My name is Big Rich, and we got a lot of topics to get into tonight all over the sports world. Some fun, some not so fun, but it is going to be a big time. And I got a bunch of my guys here with us. I'm sure we'll have one or two more popping in as the show goes on. Right below me is Jeremy. Jeremy, what's going on, dude?
Not much. Training camp going on as usual here. Nothing really major to talk about there.
To his immediate right, Ken the Bear fan.
Hey, I'm like Jeremy, trying to avoid all the clickbait that's out there because my God, there's a ton of it.
There's plenty of it. And just moving into the center square, Rav, what's cooking, buddy?
How you guys doing? I was in the wrong show. I swear to God, I just was on the New York show. I was like not even paying attention and talking about Mets, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm interrupting these guys' program. And it was so nice about my little stupidness. But yeah, like rooting for the wrong team. We talked about the Soto trade. It was great. So good to see. Good to be in the right place here.
Tell them how we find New York here in the area. We go south till we smell it.
Is right, Dylan. How you doing, man?
If I didn't have a big final coming up in a couple of days, I'd be feeling like Sydney's swinging right now, but I'm kicking in there, boys.
Adam, or above him, what are you doing, dude?
Nothing, man. Long day at work. A little longer than expected. I didn't like it, but I got home in time, and here we are.
And by the way, if you move in your frame to your right a smidge, because the Driving to the Top logo is right over your face.
That's why you look so good.
Yes, that is why I look so good. Shit.
And to his left,
which way do I gotta move this? I gotta move this way?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
a little bit like this.
How about we just take it down?
Put your left foot in, put your left foot out.
There we go.
Put your right foot in, and you shake it all about.
What
is Barney now? Is what it's all about, guys.
And do the
all right. So
it's the hokey pokey.
Right. So let's get our somberness out early. How's that sound, guys? Since we have last talked, and I did a little bit about this when it went down at the end of last week. First, we lost a WWE / pop culture icon at the age of 71 in Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, Terry Boulder, Sterling Golden, take your pick. But pretty much all of us are of that ilk and time frame of Hulk Hogan. We knew the rock and wrestling connection, all that kind of stuff. So kind of wanted to go around and get you guys little thoughts real quick about Hogan. Ken, you want to kick us off?
I mean, not only do we lose Ozzy, and then a couple days later we lose Hulk. I mean, I guess we're all starting to get into that age where the folks that we grew up watching are starting to go. Whether, one of the first rock albums I really ever listened to was Blizzard of Oz, like where I actually listened to the whole album. And watching, I can remember watching WrestleMania 3. That was in Detroit, right? WrestleMania 3 in Detroit.
It was.
Yep. I can remember watching Hulk as a kid, and everyone wanted to be a little Hulkster, right? and how big wrestling got in the 80s and 90s because of him. And then during the what's the name of the era there, the Attitude Era, when he went to and he was NWO and he blew WCW up with Macho Man and Sting and those guys. And so we're starting to lose icons. And of course, then we'll get to the one behind you. We just lost another icon today or yesterday. We're getting to that point in our lives, and it's whether it be actors, musicians, entertainers in general, athletes. So really sad to see Hulk Hogan. It's funny because not that long ago, Hulk was just doing rallies, right, for the election and all that stuff, and you would have not have thought anything was wrong with him, and just goes to show you that's just how much we know. So I was a little shocked when we heard it, saddened by it, because you just don't think these guys are ever gonna, they're gonna be here forever.
Yep. Jeremy?
It's a rough week. And then we also lost Chuck Mangione. And I don't know if anybody knows him, but he used to do a lot of the music for Warner Brothers, and he also did a few jazz lines and stuff like that. So, we've lost a lot of big stars over the last couple of years that were a big part of our childhood.
Gen Xers, we're starting to feel the pain.
Yeah. Rav, thoughts on Hogan?
We're doing both, or am I just doing Hogan first?
Let's do Hogan first, and then we'll get to the to Rhino.
All right. So, 1987, August 29th, 1987, in the Baltimore Arena, it was King Kong Bundy against One Man Gang and Hulk Hogan. That was the first time I ever went to a match when I was about 10 years old. My mom took me. So, yes, I'm old. My wife just said I'm old, which is absolutely right. So
you're not that
old. Tell your wife we're all old right now.
Yeah. So that was my first match, and nothing I wanted to do was go more to a wrestling match, and Hogan was the guy, man. Hogan was he was probably one of the most famous people in the whole country, let alone the world. So I will say this. Hulk did some bad things. I don't want to harp on it, but I'm not mad at the people that are out here protesting and upset, especially African Americans. He's got to wear that. I prefer to think of him as the great wrestler and everything we saw, and just the superhero. This Hulk was the superhero for all of us when we were all growing up.
Dylan?
Yeah, I don't understand the protests and all that after he died. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, look at he these guys are human too. They're going to make errors in their personal lives, So when he died, and all of a sudden I see protests and some of the other stupid memes and that floating around X, I just kind of shake my head and I almost want, tell me I might just be a terrible person for thinking this, but when I see someone post something like that, I think, I hope that's what happens to you when you pass away. That you're, instead of being remembered for what you inspired people to do good, that someone plants a flag out front of your house to tell your family what an asshole and what a jerk and what a piece of crap you were. When whatever their personal demons they fought were, or you didn't like their political stance or whatever, the dude, especially in the 80s and 90s, he made kids not want to be couch potatoes, for lack of a better term, get out, get active, and do stuff. I mean, that's the takeaway here, right? He entertained people. Number one, that was his job. He was very good at it, but then he made kids want to be active and aspire to be better. And that messaging it was what he was acting to do. That's what you remember. Yeah, exactly. They're ripping their shirt and the pythons and, I got 22s. But all these people protesting, honestly just passed away a few days ago. If anyone was going to be protested, it'd be the PETA folks out front of Ozzy's because he bit the heads off bats. But no, they're protesting Hulk Hogan because they just didn't like the dude. I don't get that piece. When I'm starting to
and there's a whole lot more to it than that. But
he's dead now, and that's the other thing. Let him rest in peace and dead. Whatever he did, it's over now.
Yeah.
Right. Dylan, your thoughts on Hogan?
When I think of Hulk Hogan, I think a couple things. One, it's not just Hulk, it's Hulkamania every time you rip off his shirt, even in one of Trump's rallies. And two, how about that match with another WWE legend, Andre the Giant? Talk about a giant among men, right?
Slam heard around the world.
Yep. Yeah, that was one of the most well-known matches of all time. Adam, you got any thoughts on Hogan?
Mr. America, when he got suspended and then came back as Mr. America, and he locked his ass off for that. That was great. I mean, the guy was just even when he turned bad, people still followed and watched because of who he was. And he NWO on the title and NWO everywhere. He turned bad into something cheerful, I guess. And that took a while for people to adjust. Like, they weren't happy at first, obviously throwing all the garbage at him and all that. And then, eventually they came around, and then Hulk eventually came back to the orange and the yellow and red, of course. But yeah. So I mean, whenever you look at a Nintendo game and it was the WWF back then, all 5 of those characters on the cover are now resting in peace. So yeah, like we said, our childhood is going faster than we know.
Yeah. Haas, go ahead, and then I'll wrap up Hogan and we'll kick off the other one.
One thing I'll say, especially to this like new generation, whatever there are, Gen Z or whatever they're called, wrestling wouldn't be today what it is without Hulk Hogan. They can say all the negative they want about him, about what he's done in the past, especially with his daughter, but wrestling would not be where it is without him. He epitomized what it was to be a superstar. If it wasn't for him, there would be no WrestleMania. Same with Vince McMahon. He defined he made this into a global phenomenon. He made this sports entertainment with the Rock and Wrestling connection, bringing in Cyndi Lauper, the biggest star of the 80s at the time, the connection with MTV, with the war to settle the score and all that. That led to Mr. T coming in and doing WrestleMania, which the A-Team was the biggest fucking TV show in the 80s by that time. This was in 1984, 85. So, and it transitioned to become, and you also got to give it to him in Rocky 3. That's what made him as big as what he was. His role was Thunderlips in Rocky 3, because Vince Sr. didn't want him to go play that role, and he did, and he fired him. Went go do AWA, went work in Japan. Then when Vince Jr. took over, he brought him back and immediately shot a rocket into him and blasted him to the top and became the face of a whole damn, I don't want to call it not just a decade, but of a whole damn generation. Like, you think of some of the other big names that followed on behind. There'll be no other superstar that will be as big as Hulk Hogan, maybe except Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't think that may have been the biggest other name outside of Hogan.
Ric Flair maybe can compete, Hoss. Maybe Ric Flair can compete. One thing, though, to pick up on that, Hoss, though, not only was it the Gen Xers who he captured when we were young and catapulted, professional wrestling to what it was, but boomers. Like, my dad loved watching Hulk Hogan when he was alive. Like the boomers who were watching wrestling. Remember, it wasn't just us kids watching it. We weren't old enough to buy the pay-per-views in 1986 and 87. Our boomer parents did, because they wanted to watch Hulk Hogan too. So say what you will about his personal life, but for what he was paid to do, Hoss is 100% right. For what Hogan was paid to do, he did it better than anyone else ever in the history. And without him and other guys like Vince McMahon and whatnot, there is no professional wrestling as we know today. In fact, sports entertainment in general, that landscape may look completely different. There might not be a room for the UFC because UFC was born. Why? Because of the WWE/WWF is the reason that got born as the alternative, because how big it got.
I'm sorry, cut you off, but
no, go ahead. I mean, I was just saying his impact goes beyond wrestling within sports.
When he turned heel and became the third man and formed the NWO, they still say that was the biggest heel turn of all time, because no name was bigger than him. You're thinking, oh, this guy can't be a bad guy. He's a real American. He tells kids to say their prayers and take their vitamins and 24-inch pythons and all that, like you said. But he wanted to be the bad guy, and he formed the NWO with National Hall.
That almost didn't happen, right?
No, they wanted
Sting.
Sting.
Man was supposed to be Sting. Yeah,
it's supposed to be Sting. Hogan didn't want to do it, but Bischoff pressured him into do it. Like, this could be game changing, and he was right. It changed everything. It led to 83 weeks of winning the Monday Night Wars against WWF until by 98 when they changed their attitude and formed the Attitude Era. Then it was back and forth until early 99 when nope.
That's not what caused the 83 weeks to stop. It was one statement that Bischoff forced Tony Schiavone to make.
That Flair. Foley was going to title.
Because he said, well, Cactus Jack or Mankind, who used to wrestle as Cactus Jack here in WCW, is going to win their world title tonight. That'll put some asses in seats.
That's what ended the war. But in between, like 98, they would flip back and forth. Raw would win one week, Nitro would win.
Yeah.
That was what flipped everybody over, and Raw started going live again too.
Yeah, they stopped doing the pre-tapings, and then they really started going live. And then Nitro has kind of started digging their own grave ever since '99. But it was cool. But the only thing I didn't like was, as much as I claimed I was Wolfpack for life, I claimed Wolfpack for life. I didn't think he fitted in with Wolfpack. I hated NWO Silver. I thought he was perfect for Hollywood. And the Mr. America gimmick, which I thought was kind of dumb. But thinking about it now, I said, that would be funny. El Grande Americano and Mr. America would be a good tag team or a good feud.
Would Bruno Sammartino be up there on a Mount Rushmore, guys?
I don't know how to take that comment. Charles' favorite wrestler was Val Venus.
Mount Rushmore.
I mean, I don't know if that's bad.
Maybe for a performer in the ring, maybe yes. But like as a sports entertainer, no.
I would go. I mean, Hogan, I agree with. Flair, I agree with. What about Roddy Piper? I would think he'd have to be on that Mount Rushmore too. Because he had crossover appeal. Remember he did They Live, which is an all-time great movie. I mean, he had some crossover appeal too. I mean, Ronda Rousey, when she came to WWE, based her whole character off of him. So I mean, he would have to be, and he was the great other side of the coin to Hogan when those two were together.
But if you're looking at the four, and that's where the hard part comes in, the four for professional wrestling, it honest to goodness is relatively simple. It's Hulk Hogan because of what he did in the 80s.
Right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin for what he did in the Attitude Era and taking it from where Hogan was as he was starting to kind of dwindle down in his in-ring career and go from there. Cena, who took it in 2002 when he started with Ruthless Aggression and the whole deal with the kids, with the hustle, loyalty, respect, say your prayers, take your vitamins, all that kind of stuff. And as much as he is as big of a douche as Hulk Hogan is or was, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Because without him, none of it happens. There's no WrestleMania 1. There's none of the blow up. There's no national expansion. There's no demolition of the territories. None of that stuff goes on without those four guys.
Like Saturday wouldn't happen.
Are there a ton of others that kind of fall a little bit underneath that as far as the performers, the Brunos and the Shawn Michaels and the Roddy Pipers and the Ric Flairs and the Stings and the guys?
Undertakers.
Yes. Undertakers. They all go in there and they're kind of the honorable mentions to Mount Rushmore. But those four guys are it. Yes, Adam.
Can we get Joe's thoughts on Hogan and then yours?
Right.
Rich?
And then we need to move. Yeah, we need to move to the next thing.
All right.
Joe, you got any thoughts on Hulk Hogan?
I do. Sorry I'm late. I had an issue to resolve with my daughter here before we got on. Everything's good. Good
I heard Rab popped in.
You heard what?
I heard Rab popped into your show.
He did. He popped into our Jamie and I's baseball show. So I said he's welcome anytime, but as are any of you. But so real quick on that whole thing. Now, I go back to the wrestling days. My favorite wrestler of all time is some guy named Chief J. Strongbow. And Bob Backlund was the longtime champion at the time I started watching, wrestling in the late 70s and stuff. But Hulk Hogan made it exciting. I used to get all the Madison Square Garden big time wrestling matches. And I would watch that religiously on a monthly basis. And, Backlund, things were kind of getting boring with him. And then some guy named the Iron Sheik took over the championship with him. And then one of the exciting, out of all these matches I watched at Madison Square Garden, or, that were on cable there, one of the most exciting ones ever was when Hulk Hogan took the WWF championship, from the Iron Sheik. And this was probably, I'm thinking
1984.
84. There we go.
84, January 84.
Okay. So that to me, out of all those matches I watched from on the Madison Square Garden, all those wrestling matches, probably one of the more memorable ones I can remember is that one. And then obviously he just took it from there. And I kind of lost once I went away to college and stuff. And getting career oriented, I kind of lost interest in it. So I'm not too familiar with these other guys that you were mentioning, but Hulk Hogan definitely, and like you said, what he did for the for what I called my favorite soap opera on television was absolutely amazing.
Got a Chief J Strongbow reference. All right now.
Sharp.
I hadn't heard that name.
Awesome.
I hadn't heard that name since Big Daddy.
Right.
Yeah. And last night about 6:00, it came down. This one's a little tough. This one's a lot tough for me. Everybody has seen the Willie Stargell stuff I put behind me and all that. Once he retired, Ryan Sandberg was my guy. I wore 23 before it was cool to wear 23. Came home every day, watched the Cubs because they were on cable and Wrigley Field didn't have lights at that point. You got to watch day baseball. Yep. I never played second base a minute in my life. I was a catcher, a pitcher, and a first baseman, but I just had this attraction to Ryan Sandberg and the way he played the game. And he just became my guy. Baseball cards, posters, jerseys, T-shirts, the whole shooting match. When I got my radio career, took me to Peoria, Illinois, the year that Rhino was the manager of the Peoria Chiefs. And got a chance to work with him. Got a chance to see him virtually every day for an entire summer. And got to know him. It was one of those first name basis kind of deals. We call each other about different stuff and things like that. We did a show at an Irish bar right after all the home games, and Rhino would come down and jump in with us every now and then and that kind of deal. He never knew that he was my hero. Never knew until the last show of the season. And the guy that I did the show with, Doc, I will get you for this. If Doc Watson, if you're watching this, I will still get you for this. I've been planning it a way to get you. We had the owner of the team, Rocky Vanaken, Rhino, and Josh Donaldson, who many of you may know had a really long career in the majors with Toronto and a few other teams. He was in A-ball with the Cubs at that point. We had those guys at the show, and Doc comes on and says, "So how was it working with your hero all season?" Wah, wah. And this was on the air. I went dead quiet. Rhino just looked at me. And I said, yeah, I'll explain it all to you later on. But yes, you were my guy when I was growing up. There is 11 years difference in us. But the big thing is, that was my guy. I had a chance to work with him. They tell you don't meet your heroes. They tell you don't meet your heroes. In this case, yeah. And everything that you may have heard throughout the course of the day over the last 24 hours about him, it's legit. Family guy. When he was on the field, he was as competitive and as bulldog as you ever wanted to see. As a manager, he could argue with an umpire with the best of them. But when he stepped off that field, when he was with his wife and with the kids and eventually his grandkids and that kind of thing, he was that guy everybody talked about. When he was around the fans, he was that guy, and when I heard the first cancer had gone away, I was super stoked. And then when it came back as prostate cancer a little while ago, I knew it was going to be tough on him after he had just fought, and unfortunately yesterday. So I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say this 1-2 word saying that I hear a lot of people say a lot of the time, and fuck cancer. It took another one, and let's. I can't wait to hear everybody's thoughts on Rhino. Hall of Famer, Gold Glove winner, Silver Slugger winner, Home Run Derby winner. Let's start where we ended the last one. Haas, start us off, man. Hey, Jamie, how you doing?
Hi, Rich. So, yeah, I wasn't a Cubs fan growing up, but yes, I did see the Cubs a lot on TV. And while watching the Cubs, I became a fan of a former teammate of his in Sammy Sosa. So, like, I was watching the Cubs a lot because I was a Sammy Sosa fan at once in my childhood. And I did see Ryan Sandberg on my TV a lot because they played together for a few years. He played second base. And they called him Ryan. I don't want to say they called him Rhino because he was fast like one or he was built like one, but you couldn't think of a better name for him. I mean, if that's the rumors true, or maybe you can answer that for me. If that's why they got the nickname Rhino, because he was built like a rhino.
They just used it off of his first name. That's all. I mean, he's a pretty good sized guy, but as far as I know, it's just a moniker off of his name.
I'd probably just say the moniker. I'd ask him. One guy could tell me in particular if that was the case, but no, he seemed like a down to earth person, and yeah, like he only had 2 connections with teams his whole career, the Cubs and the Phillies. He started with the Phillies, ended up with the Cubs, and then when he came into a coach or a managerial role, he went back where it all began again. He started with the Phillies as a manager. He did, I think, 3 seasons as a manager there. Well, he started as a coach and then ended as a manager. But as a player, too, I thought he was a hell of a ball player, despite my obsession with Sammy Sosa. It was nice to see he knew how to hit the ball. I mean, his numbers tell it all. His average was like 285. He had over 2,300 hits, over 280 home runs, over 1,000 RBIs. His winning percentage was .428. He was inducted in Cooperstown 20 years ago. So if I'm correct, he went in the Hall of Fame with Wade Boggs, right? In 05?
2005.
Yeah, 2005. Yeah. And by the way, I don't mean to cut you off, Hoss, but Jay, he was with the Phillies. He was a throw-in on the Larry Boa trade to the Cubs for Ivan DeJesus, and he was a throw-in. He actually played his first season with the Cubs at third base, and they moved him to second after that first year. Yes, Dylan.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dallas Green, who was the Philly manager when the Phillies won the 1980 World Series, traded Larry Boa for Ivan DeJesus. But since he knew the Phillies organization, he thought, I want Ryan Sandberg as the quote-unquote player to be named. And so Sandberg ends up in Chicago. And speaking of Sandberg, one game sticks out to me. June 84, 5 for 6, 2 home runs, 2 game-tying home runs of Bruce Sutter, who was like the Mariano Rivera of his era. If you got a hit off Bruce Sutter, you should bow down and thank your lucky souls.
To this day, that is called the Sandberg game. Adam, what do you got?
And by the way, Willie McGee hit for the cycle that game.
He did.
I got one more thing about him before I'll hand it off. So maybe y'all can agree with me. I speaking of Mount Rushmores, I did 2 here. So I'd put him in 2 different Mount Rushmores here. For when it comes to the Chicago Cubs, I'd put him up there with maybe like a Ron Santo and Ernie Banks and a Billy Williams when it comes to the Chicago Cubs. But for second baseman, I'd put him up there with maybe like a Roberto Alomar or possibly a Joe Morgan, and one more, probably, I'll go a little old school. I'll probably say like Rod Carew for the greatest second baseman ever. And I'd put him up there with those 3.
Well, I will stand on this till I die that Ryan Sandberg is the greatest second baseman to ever live. Not just because of my favoritism, but 9 consecutive Gold Gloves, 7 Silver Sluggers. When he retired, he had the most home runs of any second baseman. I mean, the list goes on and on. But yeah, he was the throw-in on that deal. Adam, what do you got?
Rich, I'm like you. I would get out of school, and them Cubs started at 2:20 our time because there was 1:20 there. So we got to come home and at least, we'd see maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you got to watch a little bit of it. I did play baseball though. So usually I was out the door for practice, so I wouldn't be able to even catch that much of the Cubs game. I liked watching Ryan Sandberg. He was a good player. I didn't really praise him like you did. If I saw him play, I saw him play. I'm sure I've seen him at Three River Stadium a bunch of times. I can't really recall though, but that was one of my other hangouts as a kid. So I'm sure I've seen Ryan Sandberg play in a Cubs uniform. But yeah, he's probably one of the best second basemen out there for sure. So.
Josh,
Jamie.
Jeff Kent, 366.
The Yankees drafted his son, by the way.
Yeah, they did. Rav, center square.
Yeah, Rich, I'm sorry for your loss too, man. I didn't know he was a friend of yours. I didn't know that. That was still on that. That was heartfelt. What you said about Ryan. I certainly didn't know him, obviously, but I'm gonna say the '80s losing Hulk Hogan and losing Ryan Sandberg was my coming up as a kid. And Ryan Sandberg was the best second baseman of the '80s. That's what I thought of Ryan Sandberg. There was a second baseman as a defensive position, guys like Frank White and Bill Ripken in the glove. But Ryan was the home run hitter. He was the thumper. He was a guy. You didn't see a lot of that at second base back then and like you do now. So Ryan, I think Sandberg, he made it. I think he actually won MVP in '84. I think he made it 9 times. Him, Ozzie, automatic all-star game. And that's usually when I saw Ryan Sandberg play. Automatic all-star the whole 1980s pretty much. So
that's right. That's right. The AL and NL didn't play each other. That's right.
Yeah. So shout out to Ryan Sandberg, who was automatically the best second baseman of the 1980s in baseball. And at least
2002 was the first year of interleague play between the AL and the NL.
Yep. Jamie, you got any thoughts on Rhino, man?
Look, I'm a youngster here. I'm the youngster of the bunch. I'm very familiar though with some of these older school guys. But I think Sandberg's a guy that I do have respect for these older school guys who grew up in the 80s and things like that, like a Hulk Hogan and like a Sandberg, and they were guys that I feel like they made the world a better place off the field when they were there. And I think for younger generations, they need to know about Ryan Sandberg, about not just the player he was, but the man he was off the field. So R.I.P. to that. And cancer's awful, and it's hard. It's really hard to find a cure. But hey, when you have cancer, though, it just means it's your time with the good Lord, So, and the good Lord took him and at least he doesn't have to suffer anymore. But it sucks to lose a guy like that.
Yeah. None of us sit here with our pants on, young guy. This is a pants optional show because we don't show the waist down.
Ken, what do you got, man?
So I think I'm the only one on this panel who grew up going to watch him play every day in the summer, going to Wrigley. Hell, I lived at Wrigley. I felt like I did. And it was funny because you brought up Ivan De Jesus was my favorite Cub ever at that point in my life. And then they traded it for Larry Boa. And so I hated Larry Boa, but we got this Ryan Sandberg guy. And all of a sudden, wait, this Ryan Sandberg guy is pretty cool. And I used to watch him play and whoa. And then we got Amazing Grace. And then we had the Shawnometer. And that was the best 1, 2, 3 combination, man. Just Sean Dunston, the Ryan Sandberg, the Mark Grace. the guy with the most hits in a decade, Mark Grace, playing with Rhino. That when you had the Boys of Zimmer, the 84 no light playoff controversy, where we're leading that series and then go to San Diego because we don't have lights, so we're stripped the home field advantage and we lose that series. I grew up watching Rhino, man. He was like Ivan DeJesus when I was my youngest memory of Cubs baseball was him. And then it was supplanted with Rhino. And I used to go to Wrigley before the lights. I remember going to Wrigley with in the neighborhood. You'd go to a game and there'd be signs in people's windows that said no lights at Wrigley. And that when that debate was happening. And he played with guys like one of the most amazing baseball players ever, Mark Grace. And he played with Sean Dunston with the Sean-O-meter, which is actually in the Smithsonian, believe it or not, the Sean-O-meter is. That crew that he played with, and then with the Boys of Zimmer, right, the 89 Cubs. I mean, man, I just grew up watching. He was, look at when we drafted Jordan, and I remember the 84 Olympics like yesterday with Merv Albert. All the guys in Chicago are going to love this guy. When he got to Chicago, dude, he wasn't 23, Michael Jordan. No, Ryan Sandberg was 23. Oh, he took Rhino's number. Legit, that's what we said growing up in Chicago. Oh, we were excited when MJ got there, but that was Rhino's number.
2 greatest 23s in the city of Chicago right there.
Well, 3. Devin Hester. You got to add him to the list now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those 2 guys, though, then Jordan, of course, became Jordan. Jordan and Rhino changed that number in Chicago, period. It doesn't matter what sport. They might as well just, between Jordan and Rhino and Hester, just retire that number from any Chicago sports team because no one else deserves to wear it. Rhino was the first who really, him and Bob Denier, oh my God, the stories. And then when he was a manager and I was stationed in Jacksonville, he came to manage against the Jacksonville Suns. I sat 2 feet from him the entire game, held a conversation with him during the game. And he was totally cool with my kids there. I mean, he was the coolest guy you ever met. The couple times I did meet him, but that one stuck out. Minor league ball game. They were winning easily. Every Cubs fan in the universe descended on Jacksonville whenever the AA team came to town. And he'd sit there and talk to fans before the game, during the game, after the game. It didn't matter. That's just Rhino. And, there was some stuff that came out that was salacious, which was all unfounded, untrue. The dude was awesome. He played with Dawson. Oh, my God. Yeah, the Hawk. I mean, and that was a time period, too. I think he had something to do with that in a way. When Andre Dawson came to Chicago, I don't know if everyone knows the story of how he became a Cub. He became a Cub and he said, I'm going to sign this contract to play with the Cubs because I really want to be a Cub. You fill in a dollar amount. Mm-hmm. Dangerous thing to say to the Tribune Company back in the 80s. But you were playing with Rhino and Grace, and he was a cornerstone. But you can't mention Rhino though without mentioning Mark Grace, Sean Dunston, Andre Dawson, some of these other guys he played with, Bob Denier even. But that core infield for the Cubs at that point, with Larry Bowa was the third baseman for a minute, but that core of Dunston to Rhino to Grace, unreal. And I think a lot of Rhino's numbers were also kind of because he was batting with Gracie, because you couldn't pitch around Grace, and that teed it up for Rhino. You had no choice. You either let Grace beat you let Rhino beat you, and it didn't matter. They both did, and that was we wasted possible championships in the 80s because of the lights, maybe in 84 and 89. But if anyone deserved a World Series ring, it would have been those 2 guys together. For me, Mark Grace and Ryan Sandberg and Sean Dunston will always be intertwined. But Sandberg is always he's on my Mount Rushmore of Cubs. My Mount Rushmore is going to be completely different than what any of you guys come up with, probably as a diehard, lifelong Cubs fan. But Rhino is definitely front and center on that for various reasons, and he'll be missed. And I still remember the day, and I'm sorry I'm taking so long to this all landed. I'm sorry that the day when he did not get selected to be the manager of the Cubs, and a lot of us thought he would be, and they went another direction, and I think that killed him professionally. I think after the Cubs decided not to make him the manager that last selection process, I think he lost all desire to do anything with baseball, because if there was anyone who should have been the Cubs manager, it was Rhino. And instead they went a whole other direction. And that was after the 16 team, right? And they went with the fan favorite from the 16 club instead of with Rhino. And they should have gone with Rhino, and for that I'll ever be forever mad at the Ricketts family.
Sorry.
Because Rhino should have been able to go full circle and been the manager of the Chicago Cubs. Sorry.
Yeah. Jeremy?
Oh, yeah. Well, he actually was in high single A there for a little while in the teens before he went back to the Phillies. And I know because he used to do the Iowa Tin Cap, or the Tin Caps out of Indiana. And the Tin Caps used to play against the Great Lakes Loons. And I actually had a chance to meet Ryan Sandberg. So it was great to meet him. He was a great guy, very humble. And, you know, I'm sorry to hear he left this earth, because we lost a good one. He was the nice guy. I think he only ever got, ejected once for getting upset.
Oh, no. He got ejected back-to-back games when he was in Peoria. I think he got ejected 4 times his first year in Peoria.
I was talking about as a player in Peoria. Yeah.
Oh, no, he would charge the mound, too.
As a player, it was a whole different thing.
But he would charge the mound, too, trust me. You didn't throw at him and get away with it.
Yep. Joe?
I didn't know before I came on that I was going to be having 1984 flashbacks here. I mean, I graduated high school that year. I was watching Hulk Hogan wrestle. I was watching Ryan Sandberg play, baseball. And
Nikki Glazer was just born in 1984, by the way.
And guess who I was listening to on the stereo? Some guy named Ozzy. But anyway,
Ozzy's daughter Kelly was born that year too, 1984.
Ryan Sandberg just fits the mold of players that I adore in Major League Baseball. My favorite player growing up was Gary Carter, a family guy, a very hard-nosed baseball player. Now, I never met Gary Carter. I never got to know him like you got to know, Ryan Sandberg. But when Gary Carter passed away, it was a shock, because it's like, oh my goodness, I was at an age where it's like now my first childhood favorite athlete has passed away, And I see a lot of parallels here between him and Ryan Sandberg. And now he was the type of player. They were going against the Mets. Both the Mets and the Cubs had been horrible for like hundreds of years in the mid 80s there. And then all of a sudden they're fighting for a division here. And I'm thinking, usually you'd be like, okay, if they beat the Mets and win the division, I'm not rooting for them. But that was not the case. When the Mets didn't get in, I was a Cubs fan for those, games. And it was too bad. Now, I'm wondering if it wasn't even the lights issue at Wrigley. Back then, home field advantage was predetermined. I don't know if that was still the case.
No, it was the lights. We had home field, and MLB took it away because they wanted to have night games for the playoffs for ratings. So we had the better record. We had home field against San Diego. They played the first 2 games at Wrigley, and then it was supposed to be 2 games in San Diego and game 5 in Chicago, but the series never came back to Chicago.
Okay. But I was rooting all out for the Cubs. And I remember, Sandberg obviously being in the heart of that. You said he was MVP that year. His type of play, and so many times, and Dylan mentioned a game, I don't know if it's the same one, but the Cubs were losing by 1 billion runs and was one of those Wrigley games and came back. And it was a monster game by Ryan Sandberg. Again, I'm not sure if it's the one that Dylan mentioned or not, but he just basically single-handedly almost, brought his team back. So I love heart and soul guys like that again, family first and just good people, besides being excellent Hall of Fame baseball players. And, certainly sad to see him go.
And Joe, what's great about that too is like him and Mark Grace are 2 guys. I haven't seen many guys do this, but Rhino and Mark Grace did. During rain delays, those two guys would come out of the field and play catch with fans.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing.
Yep.
And not to talk too much about Grace, but for me, they're so intertwined. Grace's last game he ever played in Chicago was as an Arizona Diamondback. I was at that game. It had a 3.5-hour rain delay. And Mark Grace, still as an Arizona Diamondback, came out and played catch with Cubs fans that game during the rain delay. But Rhino and Grace would do it. I don't know if Grace got Rhino to do it or Rhino got Grace to do it. But those two guys would always do that. And just from a Chicagoan perspective, you got to remember, like 84, we had Sweetness, we had Rhino, we had MJ, and we had Eddie Belfour with Dominic Hasek as his backup with Jeremy Roenick and Chris Chelios. I mean, that was the heyday of Chicago sports. We won one championship out of all that in the 80s. And that, of course, being the Bears. But, like, you would see Rhino out with MJ, and these guys all hung out together in Chicago, which was something else that was different in sports because you didn't see that a lot on TV. But in Chicago, we got used to that. Like Jordan hanging out with Sandberg, who was hanging out with Sweetness, and they would all hang out together. And you'd see them together, and it brought the city together too. And that can't be spoken enough about Ryan Sandberg, as he was part of that helped bring the city of Chicago more together as a sports city. You know, you would see him and Sweetness do things all the time. And so for me, I watched, in 96 when was it 96 when Walter died? Yeah. 96. So first it was Walter, now it's Rhino. And I'm like, I'm not that far in age from MJ, so I hope he lives a long, long time.
Guys, I appreciate all the, tributes to both of these guys and everything. Let's get in. Let me ask you guys a very serious question. You ever wanted to tell your boss off? Well, I got a story for you. And this happened the other day. I'm sure you guys have all heard of a fellow named Bryce Harper. Well, Bryce Harper of the Philadelphia Phillies and baseball commissioner Rob Manfred had a heated exchange in Chicago during a question and answer session between the commissioner and the team, according to the person with direct knowledge of the conversation who spoke with the AP on Monday on condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the situation. Philly slugger Nick Castellanos previously confirmed some of the details with the bandwagon and ESPN. This all comes from AP. But basically what happened was Manfred was talking about a salary cap in Major League Baseball. And at some point, Harper told Manfred that if he was there to talk about a salary cap, he could get the F out of the clubhouse. So I throw it to you. Rob Manfred could basically tell Bryce Harper, you don't play Major League Baseball anymore. And it would stick. So what do you guys think of him telling his ultimate boss to go climb a tree and throw an F-bomb in there with it? Joe, let's start with you, man.
All right. I don't like it, to be honest. First of all, now people can disagree with me. I think baseball needs a salary cap. Second of all, I think there's other ways to handle it. Now, I heard that they did kiss and make up and talked about it further. I read the article too from ESPN, I think it was, which a lot of the information by, Castellanos was confirmed. But it's just, I like what Manfred was doing, going around and talking to clubs and probably, sharing the information. Now, if you don't want to share the information, or if you don't want to hear the information, rather, just there's other better ways to handle it, in my opinion. I don't approve of going to a boss. Now, I know Manfred has the power, but again, leaders in baseball have absolutely no power over these players. So they're never going. You can't even argue with a manager anymore. Or if God forbid a manager pulls a player off a field for not hustling, the manager gets criticized, and the player gets all the justice. So nothing would ever be done to Harper about it, and I think he's smart enough to know that. But I just think there's better ways to react to it.
Dylan, what do you got?
Oh, me? Sorry. I think that the players, particularly Bryce Harper, see that MLB is facing a potential work stoppage after the 26th season, and Bryce Harper doesn't want a salary cap. The players don't want a salary cap because guess what? If there's a salary cap, the owners are going to win, the players are going to lose, and maybe it's because the Dodgers have a payroll that is going to be rivaling Tesla before long, but that's another story.
It's the reason why the Yankees didn't want to pay for Soto. Exact same thing. All that money. You're right, Dylan.
Adam, what do you got, man?
I'm not about a salary cap in baseball. It's these owners knew what they were doing when they gave these players 10-year contracts, and then they would wait 4 to 5 years before they gave another player a 10-year contract, because they knew by doing the 10-year contracts, they could never break it down and never set a salary cap to it. The only way they can set a salary cap is maybe with a player strike, and I'm not sure how that, or I don't even know if an owner strike, but I'm not sure how that would play into it. But when they sign these big contracts like that, you cannot set a salary cap because it would just mess everything up. Now, Bryce Harper telling his boss to fuck off, I don't know. I kind of got a kick out of it when I heard it.
Awesome.
I'm not big of it either. I know they don't have one. I know they don't have one, but they don't have a hard one. But they knew what they were signing for. Like, you're making just as much when you sign, no matter if it could be a rookie contract, 10-year, whatever, you're gonna get your money. I just don't know what Bryce Harper's deal is right here. I mean, would he just wake up and had one bad game and then he just decided I need more money? Like, I just ignored it when I saw this was trending. I'm like, he's bitching about money. Like, I'm not surprised there, but I'm glad you kind of filled this in my head, because I was avoiding this because I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with Bryce Harper right now, bitching about money. Because I'm looking into this. I'm like, I don't think any leagues have a salary cap. Don't the NFL at least have this? Or
NFL and NHL have hard salary caps.
Oh, I figured the NFL did.
And NHL does too.
Well,
MLB has a thing called the luxury tax.
Yeah.
And if your payroll is over, there's 3 tiers, and you pay a luxury tax to the league if your combined team salary for the season exceeds certain amounts. So that's how it's why you call it a soft cap. To answer Joseph's question, it's until 2035.
Best contract in sports history.
I will say, out of all the sports that have a salary cap,
Ken Griffey Jr. got it pretty good too, guys. Just to let you know, it's not just Bobby, but Bobby played it out longer.
Yeah, he's been getting paid for like 20 years, and he still has another 10 left.
He gets $1 million every summer. Every summer he gets a check from
July 1st.
It's a national holiday in New York.
Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bonilla Day. But Rav, what do you think, man?
These are two different discussions. As far as Harper telling Manfred where to go, I don't know who hasn't been watching Bryce Harper for the last 10, 11 years. Bryce Harper, that's like Dennis Rodman telling somebody off. Like, Harper's going to say what he wants to say. This is the way he's always been. He goes, he's the only opposing player that goes into, and he's the villain. He's not going to care about anything what Manfred says. So I don't care. I'm not a big fan of Manfred. He's a lousy commissioner. So as far as that goes, as far as the cap, baseball's not getting a cap. And I think guys like Harper, and not just him, but a lot of the high-paying guys are kind of going to bully the guys that really could use a cap out of it. Because that's essentially what's been happening. It's going to benefit the high-dollar players, the Bryce Harpers, the Freddie Freemans, the Sotos, and then the rest of those guys, they're going to be fighting for contracts on the teams that they're on. So I don't think they're going to get a cap. The players are going to fight hard. And they're so rich that if there's a lockout, so what? Who cares? They got guaranteed contracts for whatever it is they get. Like Adam said, they're like a zillion years long. So there you go. I don't think we're getting a cap.
Jeremy, you think Harper was in the wrong for doing this? And where are you at with this whole thing?
I think any of them that sit there and do this bullshit to somebody that runs the entire league is in the wrong. The NFLPA is supposed to do that. His agent is supposed to do that, not him. Let the people that are paid to do that job, and keep your mouth shut and do your job.
Ken?
So, a little bit of a different take. First off, what's a boss? I guess for me, I'd have to yell at my wife and tell her to go to hell, because that's the closest thing I've got to a boss these days. No, but
some of us have jobs for real.
Yeah. Then I'll be driving up to JB, say, "Hey, you got some couch space?" No, I mean, look, I think timing and context is everything. You're in the middle of the season, and here comes the commissioner. Let's talk salary cap. Fuck you, dude. We're playing baseball. It's the middle of the goddamn freaking season. We're trying to win baseball games. This is a conversation you can have with us after the World Series. Get the hell out of here. This is the noise you want to bring. I get that aspect of him telling him, I don't want to hear this noise right now. It's noise. We're in the middle of the season, right? We're playing ball. This is not something we need to discuss right now. There's an off season for a reason. So I agree with him there. As far as there should be a cap or didn't be a cap or length of contract, guys, look at the NHL. The NHL is the gold standard for me in sports right now. They got rid of the long-term contracts. Remember the 10-year, 15-year contracts in NHL? NHL said, nope, no more of that. They got rid of that. They set a hard cap, which has worked great for the league. The NHL grows faster than any other league in the country for a reason. Gary Bettman, say what you will, he's the best commissioner in sports. The knucklehead that's in baseball, oh, Pete Rose has died. Well, now we're going to make it that guys can get in the Hall of Fame after they die if they were banned. Whatever, dude. Go after yourself. He should be screwed over. I'm at him for that, too. Baseball has done more to run me off than it has to bring me in over the last decade. And so is the NBA, for that matter. The NHL has become more inviting. The NFL is doing okay, but they, too, should learn from the NHL and the way they do salary caps. The NBA salary cap is stupid. I don't get what they're doing. Besides, that's just a three-point contest league now. Telling the commissioner of Major League Baseball to go take a long walk off a short pier in the middle of the season when you want to talk to me about salary caps in the middle of the season? Dude, wrong time. Like, you're the freaking commissioner of Major League Baseball. You should know to pick your time better. That's like Goodell coming down to week 7. He comes to Detroit and says, "Hey, Lions, what do you think if we institute this new rule for the playoffs?" They're like, "Dude, we're trying to play to get in the playoffs. We could care less about rules for next season. We're playing now." So Manfred, he was wrong for even having this little stupid speaking tour to the teams about off season. And you're the freaking commissioner. You can make a mandatory meeting post-season to get everyone together via Zoom, whatever, conference, player reps, whatever you want to do. But to do it during the season, I'm sorry, I would tell him to go take a long walk off a short pier too, and then to stick it where the sun don't shine. And if he doesn't want to put it there, my size 10 foot will be squarely up his ass, put it there for him. We're trying to win games here, not talk about salary cap. That's my take. Not that I feel certain.
Jamie?
I think you know what, maybe they shouldn't have. I was originally for one, but I actually like the way it is now, because guess what? You have a right. You can either pay a guy that much, or you don't have to pay a guy that much. It was the same thing with some of these teams are basically running it like a salary cap now, if you think about it. I mean, besides the Dodgers, but like I said, the Yankees said we could pay Soto that money, which they almost did. But then the Mets came in and they said, you know what? Have at it, Mets. You could take them. We don't have to pay them all that money. And it allowed us we were able to operate like a salary cap by signing other needs on our roster. So you could you could choose, you could run it however you want in baseball now. You could run it like a luxury tax or a salary cap, like how the Nationals and the Pirates or how the Yankees are doing it now. I think the current system now, because of the parity and the way it is, it offers more variety to do how you want to do it.
Well, we had some interesting stuff happen in the last couple of weeks. First part of the month, Cleveland Guardians starter Luis Ortiz was put on non-disciplinary paid leave through the All-Star break that was extended for another few weeks through August 31st. Yesterday, Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase, arguably one of the best closers in baseball, and definitely a guy who was on the trade block and being looked at by a number of teams, has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave through August 31st while MLB continues its sports betting investigation on both. Statement reads in full. Per an agreement with the Players Association, the Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Clase has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave through games on August 31st while MLB continues its sports betting investigation. We will not comment further until the investigation has been completed. Now, we've talked about this before where, they've got DraftKings and FanDuel and MGM and all this stuff sponsoring a bunch of crap in baseball and football and NBA. And it's not just baseball. Is this something that everybody but apparently the league saw coming whenever you started having, Sunday Night Baseball presented by DraftKings? Did everybody see this coming except the league, guys?
I saw it coming because it's supposed to be.
Start talking.
It's only supposed to be for like us and fans and for people that don't play. It's not supposed to be for the players but the players did not get the memo when they've been advertising this. It's not for the players. It's for guys like us that do podcasts or people that watch sports. It wasn't meant for the players to do that, but somehow the players got the memo thinking if the fans do it, why don't we do it? And that wasn't the intent when betting was first announced.
It's hard though for the players because, like, okay, hey Rav, I'm gonna have you sponsor my drink, all right? And Rav's like, all right, let's talk cheddar. Hey, we'll pay you X amount a year and give you free products. Like, bet. And guess what? Rav now drinks my product. So we're gonna go to players and say, hey Rav, I'm gonna have you now sponsor DraftKings, my betting platform. All right, cool. Let's talk cheddar. Okay, we strike a deal. Now the league we're telling him, oh, by the way, you can't use the thing you're sponsoring. I mean, come on. We've made the sport betting, such an ingrained piece of society that high school kids are on DraftKings betting. High school kids they get around it. That's why my son just turned 18. He's like, now I can stop relying on apps about my birth year. Right? Kids are getting on. And so you get some of these kids coming up through the systems, through high school, college, and betting on sports apps. Now they're pros and you're sponsoring it, or they're sponsoring you as a pro, and now you can't use the product? How did they not see this coming?
Yep. Jeremy?
Yeah, I think they had to see it coming. Now, this is coming from somebody here. I bet on games every night. I got like 5 games going right now. So I'm all in favor of sports betting. But I think, guys getting caught like this there's people watching just to make sure it's being done right. And so when it's not being done right, you know, they got guys that are going to catch. Now, yeah, there's negatives. You know, there's ads for alcohol on TV. And most people, you know, drink responsibly. There's some people that abuse it and it gets people in trouble. Gambling, it's the same thing. Most people do it right. It gets people in trouble and they do it the wrong way and it causes problems. But, you know, because wasn't baseball or still is sponsored by Budweiser or any of those things too?
Right.
So you had to see this coming. I agree with that. But I guess if you got people watching it and making sure it's done right, you know, you can do it.
You know what's funny is Michael Jordan probably gambled more than any athlete ever in history, and no one gives a shit.
But he never gambled on his own sport first.
No. Yeah,
and he went to the casinos and played poker and stuff like that. He didn't bet on sports.
I don't bet.
He went to the casinos and did that kind of stuff. He wasn't
Well,
betting
in
on
golf.
See Pete Rose. He wasn't betting on his team or his sport. So that makes a little bit of a difference. Dylan, what do you got?
By the way, I know we're all a sports show, but 8.7 earthquake somewhere off the coast of Russia. Tsunami warnings for Guam, Hawaii, Alaska, Japan, and the west coast of the U.S. And by the way, we all play daily fantasy sports. We all play bet in some form. I mean, take a wild guess of how many best ball drafts I've done.
You got money to bet with?
Too many.
I don't bet sports. I play fantasy sports like fantasy football, but I never put money on it. I might be a rare bird. I don't do DraftKings. I don't play the sports book. I just don't bet on sports. It's just me. I play fantasy football in that, but I never put money on it. We might pay for the league, right, to pay a fee to get upgrade features, but I've never, ever in my life bet on sports.
I have never, ever, ever bet on sports.
No, I haven't. Seriously. Like, I've never done sports, but I mean, friendly wagers amongst friends is one thing. Then you're like, hey, if we, you know, I've done like with Buddy on Facebook, hey, if the Bears beat the Cowboys, you have to wear a Bears avatar for a month. Okay, stuff like that. I've never played a sports book. I've never played DraftKings. I mean, you don't have to bet on sports, but I mean, I'm just saying I haven't, but I'm not surprised that athletes do now. And look at it. I'm not surprised that a baseball player will bet on baseball games. And I look at that. I have no problem with that. If Dylan plays for the St. Louis Sucky Cardinals and he's betting on the Angels-Dodgers Crosstown Classic game, I have no problem with that. He's not in that game. He's not going to affect it. The only thing I have a problem with is if he bets on a game he's in. But I mean, if players want to bet on other games in the league that they're not playing in, whatever. I almost really don't even have a problem. I mean, I have a problem. I can see where it can get problematic. If a guy's bet on himself to win, what's the problem with that? Now, if you bet to lose, that's a problem.
Hey, by the way, and guys, do you remember hearing the Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs? Back way before Bobby Riggs ever played Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs bet like $2,000 on himself to win the singles, doubles, and mixed doubles for Wimbledon back in like the 30s or 40s, and he actually won all three.
I have no problem with the guy betting himself. Pete Rose never bet on himself to lose, as far as I know. I think he always bet on them.
Yes, they did.
Did he? Did he? Okay, that might change the narrative. That I have a problem with. But if you're going to bet on yourself to win,
but you can't put that temptation out there, and that's the whole thing I'm looking at with this. It's almost like you get an alcoholic who gets through AA, they go through rehab, they go through whatever, and then you say, okay. And here's you're out. It's great. We got a new job for you. You're working behind the bar at Buffalo Wild Wings. The hell? Put it right in front of the person. Jeremy, go ahead. I think you're rolling with what I'm thinking.
But this is on football, baseball, and all these sports who want to have DraftKings and other sporting entities sponsor them and then put them on the jerseys and have players do ads for them. It's on them. I mean, I get your analogy. It's like, hey, JB, I know you're an alcoholic. I'm not saying you are, but I know you're an alcoholic. But I'm gonna just hand you this open fifth of Jack, which is your drink of choice, and tell you not to drink it. But by the way, I'm gonna give you a new fifth of Jack every day. I mean, that's basically what they're doing. This is on the leagues. The league's great. You can't open up Pandora's box and bitch that you opened the box.
Okay. As long as you're not betting on the sport you play in or the team you play on, I have no fucking issues. And that is why I hated the suspension of Jameson Williams that year, because he was in a hotel outside the Green Bay facility after they got done practicing, and he bet on Alabama football to win their playoff game.
Yeah. That's stupid.
But in that situation, and just like it is in Major League Baseball, it is in the players' agreement that they will not gamble in any way, shape, or form on sports.
But wait,
sports doesn't matter, college, pro, high school.
Jordan gambled on golf his entire career.
Wait a minute. At the same time, they did a poll of every team across the league. Do you know what two teams actually remembered that they weren't supposed to gamble on sports at all at a facility? There was only two. One was Vegas. That's understandable. They're in Vegas. They better know. And the other one was Indianapolis. Why? The Horseshoe is just outside of Indianapolis, the Horseshoe Casino.
That's not the fault of the league. It's in their contract. If they didn't read their contract, that's on them.
Right.
It's just like if you sign a contract for work that says that you can't do something, and you go and do it. Well, you signed the contract. If they fire you, it ain't on them. It's on you because you broke the contract.
Isn't that also up to your agent to make sure you know that? That's up to your coaches to make sure you know that. Because now you know why Jameson Williams got found out? It wasn't because they found him first. It was because 8 low-level player assistants and coaches got busted before any single player with the Lions that year. So
I think it's up.
But if he wouldn't have been doing it, he wouldn't have gotten busted.
Yeah, and it's up to the individual to know it. The agent should be the one to say it. It's up to the individual. Again, I bet on sports, but if I'm doing it at school while I'm supposed to be teaching kids and I'm using the school's computer to make bets and they fire me because of that, there's nobody else to blame except for me, right? So I think it's the same thing. If they have a contract and they're not following the contract, that's their fault.
I just think the food groups, MLS, NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL, they've opened up Pandora's box by letting DraftKings and whatnot sponsor them. Look so if you're an NFL owner or you have an NFL team, and if your guys are betting on NCAA sports or MLB or NHL, okay, fine. I mean, maybe they should refine it. Like, they shouldn't say, like, you can't bet on college sports. You can't bet on a sport from a different league. They should, look, if you're playing NFL, you should be able to vote, bet on your favorite hockey team or baseball team. But you just maybe can't bet on any NFL football whatsoever.
Just do what Ohtani did and have his language guy do it.
That's right. I mean, Michael Jordan bet on golf his entire career.
All right. I'm not going to let you say that one more time about Jordan and golf. I'm going to get it.
And we all know
because miss me with that. There's no way Michael Jordan, who was better at basketball than any of those things, never. And again, I have no proof. This is speculative. Okay. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure he bet on basketball.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Same way Ohtani did. Ohtani, like he just said, he had his guy take the fall, blah, blah, blah. There's way more of this than that. These guys
Jordan gambled in the locker room.
Jordan,
but it may have been.
Go ahead.
But Charles, it may have been one of those deals that he had somebody else do it for him, and he didn't place the bet. His brother did, or his agent did. Well, not his agent. But,
you're talking about Ohtani?
Jordan or Ohtani. I'm saying
Michael Jordan
and
Shohei Ohtani are not dumb enough to go into a sports book being as famous as they are.
Right.
That's why that's why they didn't get caught or whatever. but for sure more guys are doing this. It's gotta be true. There's no
Jordan
way.
would gamble. I mean, look, did you guys watch The Last Dance? They showed Jordan gambling in the freaking locker room with these little silly games they would play for money. That's gambling.
I mean, he bet on the games too. I'm sure of it.
Sure,
he had
the old NASCAR thing.
Players. Go ahead, sorry.
It's the old NASCAR thing that if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But it's a matter of getting caught. And if you get caught, it's in your contract that it's illegal, and you get caught, guess what? You deserve what you get because you got caught. I'm not saying good, bad, indifferent. I will still stand to this day. Pete Rose should not go into the Hall of Fame because he bet against his own team, which is a discrepancy to the game.
Fighters bet on themselves on fights all the time. Mayweather did it all the time. Bet on himself in fights.
But they're allowed
I'm just saying.
They're allowed. There's nothing in the WBA, WBC, WBO, any of those organizations that says they can't gamble. In Major League Baseball, there is. In the NFL, there is.
I know that Tiger Woods laid bets. You got to be kidding me on golf.
I don't think that the PGA has anything against betting either. I don't think there's a contract with the PGA.
What they need to do, though, but look, at the level where MLB, NHL, MLS, NFL, they've all let DraftKings and these other sports books into the house, they need to change the wording of their contract. And then maybe they just need to change it. Like, if you're signing an NFL contract, you can't bet on NFL games. You can bet on any other sport you want. If you're signing an MLB contract, you can't bet on baseball at the MLB level. But if you want to bet on college ball or NFL or NHL or MLS or Bundesliga or whatever, have at it. I think that's what they need to do. You can't fill the room full of liquor and then say, by the way, we're leaving for a month and you can't leave and you're not allowed to drink it. And by the way, there's nothing else to drink.
It's a tough situation because if you do that, then okay, let's say John Q. pitcher for whatever team in the major leagues is $1 million in debt from betting college basketball. And the guy that he owes the money to says, well, if you throw your game, if you throw your baseball game, then we'll consider it covered. And the bookie goes and bets against him. Now you've created a whole nother issue because it may not have been baseball that he was betting on, but betting on another sport caused the issue, which killed the integrity of the game because the pitcher threw the game, point shaving, throwing the game, whatever he's doing. You have to have a cut and dry deal. You can't gamble on sports, period. Mm-hmm. But they also, and I realize it'll never happen, but these leagues need to get away from having a DraftKings or FanDuel or somebody like that sponsor their leagues.
Is that Luke Wellington?
Jeremy?
Okay. You say that, but like you said, they're not going to get away from it because big money's coming in from those guys as sponsors, having their ads up every single commercial break. So with that being said, I agree more with Ted on this, is that you say, you just can't bet on your sport. And because they're using legal channels, not backwater mafia guys like they used to have to do, because sports book betting is actually everywhere now, except in, 3 states, I think it is, where gambling's illegal anymore.
There's a few. Texas is one of them, actually. You can't do sports, but I think it's like 15 or 16.
Yeah, but still, that means the majority of the team, I think there's 8 teams in the state that don't allow gambling, is what I heard. 18.
I mean, look, you have either one or two choices, Rich. I think you have kind of like what JB and I have said on one hand, and what you've said on the other hand. So your choices are: you don't let these guys be sponsors anymore because you don't want players gambling; it's bad, right? And you just say, okay, DraftKings, you're no longer a sponsor of the NFL, and you go get a different sponsor. And now you don't. Now you put Pandora's box back in the closet, so to speak. Or
they are not going to do that.
I know, right?
They are not going to tell DraftKings. DraftKings is the biggest sponsor in all of sports.
If you're going to keep taking their money, then you have to expect players are going to use the product.
That's why they put it in the contracts, though. that you cannot gamble, and for whatever reason, you cannot sports bet, and it's in the contracts. If they want to go sports bet, don't sign the
My
contract.
HOA says you can't have a
Very
PVC
simple.
fence, but 3/4 of the houses in my neighborhood, guess what? They have PVC fences. I mean,
Josh,
your HOA is a little different than Major League Baseball.
Josh, just to let you know, you can still bet on sports at the casino.
Yep.
And it's worse at the casino than using the app. And here's why. The apps, you got to have the money up front. You cannot gamble money you do not have. So that's why I'm saying if they're going to keep the app, you allow them to bet on everything but the sport they're in. That's it.
Yep. Just change contracts, man. They're going to have to do it. I mean, they're going to keep having – look at this. Look, we've had every year now in every sport almost, there's some kind of betting controversy. In the NFL, I mean, you're going to have to change the language and just – you're going to have to let MLB players bet on the NHL and NFL and MLS and World Cup and whatever, the Olympics, whatever they want to bet on as long as it's not MLB. And you're going to have to let NHL players bet on anything they want besides the NHL. They're coming to that.
Doing it.
I mean, they're doing it. At this point, you're going to have a controversy every year with suspensions and this debate and argument until you basically just change your contract language saying, look, if you're playing in League X, you cannot bet on games in League X.
Nolan?
Hey guys, I was just thinking with the MLB trade deadline in 2 days, actually under 48 hours, I was wondering, how about we go around the room and like rapid fire, like who would you want your team getting, whether it be trading or trading away somebody or acquiring somebody? Let's go with Joe.
Well, I'm a Mets fan, so Mets are going to be buyers, and I think Mets fans would be disappointed if they didn't buy somebody. So their biggest need is middle relief, and I think that's the area they're going to go. I was saying on our show with Jamie before, who are the Mets willing to give up? You know, do they give up prospects or do they give up some guys that have already been in the lineup? You know, guys like Mark Vientos, guys like Brett Beatty. I've already heard both names, you know, on the block, and so, or who else? So again, I'm a Mets fan, and I know the way they spend money that they're going to be buyers, and I'm very curious to see who they end up with. But I'm even more curious as to see who they give up in order to do that.
Charles, the Orioles have already made a couple moves. In fact, traded Sir Anthony Dominions, and then he pitched for the Blue Jays in the second game of the doubleheader.
Yeah, he was an Oriole in the first game and a Blue Jay in the second game and pitched against us and got us out in the 8th inning. So, yeah, you rarely see that. I don't – the Orioles are going to sell. It's going to be Ryan O'Hearn leaving. Cedric, I think, is going to be a little bit more tragic because he is – been with us as the most tenured guy, but the Orioles are going to sell. They need pitching prospects. They don't have any. That's why we're in this mess in the first place. So Mike Elias to get pitching prospects as well. I don't think you're going to see. I think Adley will be the most interesting to see if he stays. You drafted Basayo. You got Basayo, your best prospect, and you drafted 2 catchers in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
Jeremy, Tigers have already made a couple moves, but a couple pitchers going for the year. Do you see the Tigers maybe being a move for Suarez or one of these pitchers between now and Thursday?
Did Suarez just get hurt last night because everybody was?
I think Suarez will be okay.
Well, I personally don't care because I'm at like a 4 panic level because guess what we've seen all season? We've seen the Guardians have a 1-month slump where we lost like 10 games in a row, and they're coming back and charging up. We've seen the Mets do it. We've seen the Phillies do it. All these teams that have a slump when they're having a good record going have already bounced back. It hasn't even been a month yet. I'm not going to cry and whine and say they need this, that, or the other. What they need is everybody to get healthy and get back to playing good ball.
Hoffs, can the Astros stay healthy, and will Houston maybe get a big left-handed bat?
As of right now, it don't look like they're going to get healthy because their IL is off the chart. They have, I think, 5 starters out, which puts them on a fucking losing streak like no other. We got swept by, I call them the parts unknown athletics or the homeless athletics. We got swept by them, just blew a game to the Nationals, and last I checked, they were not winning. I don't know who I could see them potentially get rid of, because I know they bumped some players into the minor leagues again. But who I think they need to pick up in the trade, I think I'm seeing they were interested in getting like Willie Castro from the Twins. They can use him, maybe Cedric Mullins, Mike Talkman, and Ryan O'Hearn, just to name a few. That's who they kind of aiming for one of them for. If I had to pick one that I could see them potentially locking in on, potentially Willie Castro.
Yeah, super utility guy with the Twins. Jamie, Yankees already made a couple moves to get Ryan McMahon and Amon Rosario. Will the Bronx Bombers look for pitching?
Yeah, I do. I think they're probably going to get Dustin May from the Dodgers. They said they've been interested in him. He's got a nasty upper 80s fastball, and his slide and his it said his sinker could get up to 100 miles an hour, which is that's freaky or like really cool to see that. So
Yeah, especially without a Cole and Clark Schmidt, you guys need pitching, starting pitching.
We do have Cam Sletler though, who's a rookie, and he looks like I think he could be a stud though, even though he struggled yesterday. He could throw 100, which I love.
I'm gonna save the 2 Pittsburgh guys. Ken, who's your team? Oh wait, Cubs, right?
He's a Brewers guy. Come on.
No, I like that. I like the Saskatchewan Dodgers. No, I'm a Cubs guy. Come on.
Honestly, I feel like the Cubs need to get a big time starting pitcher. I mean, Matt Boyd and
yeah, they're looking for arms. They're looking
particularly
for arms.
a right-handed arm like Mitch Keller would make a lot of sense.
I think the Cubs are looking for arms. This is the best they've looked since the 16 run. I think we're looking for arms. I don't know what they're going to be willing to part with, to be honest. But arms. I mean, this team is. We're a game behind the Dodgers, right? Or the Brewers right now. Which is to me always still strange. They have the Brewers in the NL. I'm still used to the Brew Crew of the way back when in the AL. But I mean, they'll go up to Wrigley Field North and take care of business later in the season. And I just think they're looking for arms. I think they're looking for arms in Chicago. Cubs are on a good track right now. I think arms. If they stand pat though, I don't think it's going to be like burn the city down. But I think they're looking for arms if the price is right.
Maybe a hang of Suarez to get third base, but every team's going to be looking at him.
There was talk with the Cubs Sox series that it's so weird for 2 teams that hate each other so much they trade so often. There is talk of a crosstown trade in the works between the Sox and the Cubs. I don't know, but that's always weird. How I hate the White Sox. I don't even know why they're in Chicago. They might be in St. Louis, but
they ain't got nothing. Who's there?
They got a lot of young prospects, so that
I mean, I don't know what I heard that little bit of a rumor. I'm like, it's always funny how the Cubs and the Sox are always tied together in trades, and I really the White Sox to me are just the minor league baseball team in Chicago.
And then the 2 Pirate guys. Paul Keene's not going anywhere. Do the Pirates consider trading Mitch Keller and or David Bednar before the deadline, fellas?
I don't think Mitch Keller's going anywhere after what I was reading earlier today. I also don't think anyone's going to, now that David Bednar is the number 1 closer on the market with Clause's incident, unless a team's willing to pay the bank, that's what the Pirates are asking for right now. And I don't think anyone's going to break the bank to get David Bednar.
Yep, I think that I think Santana's gone. I still think Bednar could be gone, and he could be coming to see me. I think Texas could very easily put a offer together to get Bednar. Put a one of
He's
these
the
young
number one closer on the
outfielders.
market, Rich. The asking price is through the roof right now.
I understand, but the Rangers have got the prospects to do it. That's the thing; they've got the prospects to do it, and it sticks. It's a kid like a Sam Haggerty. It's a kid like a like a Justin Foscue or somebody like that. That could be included in that package. Position player wise, the Pirates, I see people looking at trying to get Pham, which would actually make Adam go dance out in his front yard.
I scared you earlier, Rich. I know that.
Pham.
I scared you earlier with that text.
I don't think. I think the price for Izzy is really high. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, because of his ability to play 4 positions extremely well, including catcher. And he's a consistent stick. Position, I think one of the 2 catchers could go. I think either Bart or Davis could be going somewhere. Would not be surprised at all there. But the Pirates have got, and I told, if you've listened to Steel City Sports Talk at all with me and Adam on Wednesday nights, we have talked about this. I have talked about this. Whatever move they make, they got to get sticks. Pitching is fine. They got to get sticks. How much I went through, and if the Pirates would have scored 4 runs a game this year, if their average runs per game was 4 this season, they would be 3 games over 500. It would make that much of a difference when they've lost all these 3-1, 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 games. Hell, just Skeens itself. Paul Skeens would be like 16-1 right now. He's been that dominant.
I mean, Paul Skeens might have the lowest win total for a Cy Young winner if he wins it this year.
Yeah, just call him DeGrom.
Yeah, but they're just not. That's why I say it would make that much of a difference.
That's a good.
Pirates just scored 4 runs a game, and that's not asking a lot to score 4 runs a game in Major League Baseball. Right. It would only put you 20th in the league in scoring, but they would be 3 games over 500 if they averaged 4 runs a game. 3 runs over 500 is wild card contention, folks.
Rapid fire for everybody, and then I'm gonna leave. Who is the biggest name traded between now and Thursday night at 6 o'clock?
Oh my goodness.
Adolis Garcia.
Bednar.
I can tell you who the biggest signing on the planet's going to be between now and, well, it just happened 4 hours ago.
What?
Huh?
Big Hoss should know this one. After turning down virtually every club in the world, right? I mean, because everyone's wanted him since Bayern Munich said we're not going to re-sign him. Thomas Mueller has picked the team. He turned down everyone, Miami, Real Madrid. He turned down the Premier League. He turned everyone down, and he's going to, of all places,
Vancouver. What? Wait a minute. We're talking Major League Soccer.
That's
we're not,
the biggest
we're not talking Major League Soccer.
Like I said, I can't tell you. Hey, Dylan, I told you I couldn't tell you who the biggest name trade. I could just tell you who the biggest signing in the world is going to be, and you asked too, and I just told you. The Thomas Mueller signing is monumental. I mean, it's not as big as Messi, but it's second fiddle to maybe only that when you talk about the guy who has won more trophies than almost any other player in football or in soccer, whichever you like to call it. And it's funny, he's going to Vancouver, which ironically is where Davies started his professional
This guy changed the whole sport.
Yep. And it's funny that Mueller went there, but that's the biggest signing. So I can answer that. I can't tell you who the biggest traded player is going to be because every year at the trade deadline, something comes out of left field that no one in a million years would have thought was going to happen, and it happens. The only thing I know for sure right now is that the biggest signing in sports just happened in Vancouver.
Okay, Joe, get us back on the right track.
Like how I did that, Ravi?
I say Suarez of Arizona.
Yeah, thank you. Jamie, do you have any bold prediction on potential moves?
Either Suarez or Clase.
Clase ain't going anywhere.
Okay, never mind Suarez.
He's indefinitely suspended because otherwise the Tigers would have went for him because he was on the trade thing. They were already in talk.
I'm not sure he ever plays again. Classic.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I think Steven Kwan's an LA Dodger by Thursday night. I think that Dodger outfield needs. I think that Dodger outfield needs help. One's a bat the ball guy, get on base, steal bases, score runs, and play Gold Glove defense. Have anybody seen Michael Conforto this year? Not it.
Now you mentioned some Orioles that are going to probably be going out. Who's the biggest name?
There's a bunch of Adley Rushman rumors. I think the kind of sky is falling a little bit with Adley. He isn't as productive as they had hoped, and they do have a lot of catchers in their minor league system. So I do think that's somewhat on the table. I think O'Hearn for sure is going to leave. I think O'Hearn's going to be for somebody. He definitely doesn't have a contract, and they're definitely going to go. He's an excellent DH for somebody. He's not expensive. He's a really good contact hitter. I think he's definitely out. Cedric, I think, could have the same fate maybe. Cedric, they might keep him because he's been around for so long. He's a long-tenured guy as well. And they already traded 3 relievers as it is. So you traded Soto, you traded Dominguez, you traded Brian Baker. I think they possibly would have traded Batista had he not been hurt. I think, so they're not going to trade him, obviously.
Okay.
Guys, I hate to do this and run, but I personally got to fly. Got early start coming tomorrow, and so.
That work thing.
But hate to tell you that, but
I was only going to go an hour tonight, but the conversation was good. I need to get a rule on too. I'm not trying to cut this short, but we're doing really good tonight. But yeah, I need the rule too. Does any of the people want to close it out, or do we want to end now?
I can go now.
That's fine. I can go now.
I'm going to go just real quick. I want to know what Haas thinks about the Mueller moving to Vancouver, because he's the other soccer head in the room. What do you think of Mueller going to Vancouver?
That was shocking, but I mean, I haven't really been keeping up with MLS because my team sucks ass. But I'm waiting for the international shit to come back. I know Scottish Premiership opens this weekend. Celtic plays Sunday. A couple more weeks till Premier League. A couple more weeks till La Liga, Bundesliga, and League One. Can't wait to watch the international teams all of a sudden until I get to some real football, college and NFL. But
yeah,
I want to say congratulations to the ladies of England winning the cup.
Oh yeah, beating Spain in a penalty shootout 3-1. Switzerland. Trust me. Nobody watches. Nobody pays attention to football like I do.
I know.
By the way, losing. That was Big Rich, and he canceled out.
That stuff is foosball. It's the devil.
I don't know if the Mueller signing is as impactful overall. Like Messi was impactful because of the name. But Mueller's more subdued than Messi. But for the game itself, the brain, the big brain of the game, if you will, that it should bring up some player levels in Vancouver. But I don't think it's as meaningful as say the Messi signing. But it's a close second. And considering he could have gone anywhere, and they were really trying to get him in LA, which would have been interesting to see Mueller in LA. But I think that was a big deal for Vancouver, and it's going to make the league better. I just think it's interesting with some of these big name players that come out of Europe how they've revolutionized or how they've changed the American mindset towards the game, and the young players in the game now having more access to the Messis and the Muellers of the world. That we're becoming more of a force. And don't forget, we got the World Cup here in 26, so we're going to see a lot more soccer in the coming year.
I'm going to head out, guys. Spunky Spectrum Sports Big D podcast. I'll probably be doing something Friday after my final. Wish me luck. I'm probably going to be trying that for.
Good luck.
All right.
Buena suerte.
Good luck, brother.
I know we're
Buena
losing.
suerte, Dylan.
I know we're losing in league phase right now. We're losing to the Tigers 2-1. That's the first league phase matchup right now.
All right, Joe, how people get a hold of you?
All right, Joe Dell Sports on Twitter X, and Jamie and I will be on hiatus for a little bit, but we got some football coming up real soon, so we'll talk more about that in the future.
I know I did my that's the only preseason game I'm predicting the entire preseason. I predicted the Hall of Fame game. I picked the Lions over the Chargers. So they just announced Trey Lance is going to start. I said Taylor Heineke was going to start for the Chargers in the preseason game. And then for the Lions, I said, let me get the roster up. So
Kyle Allen.
No, I didn't. I said Kyle Allen. So since the Lions only got 3 quarterbacks, I said Jared Goff was not going to dress out. Kyle Allen will play one half, and Hooker will play the second half. Oh, they got 4 QBs. Oh, DJ Ugalele. How y'all say his name right?
That is not who we have.
Oh,
we have
that's the Chargers.
We have the UDFA that just graduated from Eastern Michigan University also.
Oh, well.
There's your starter. Hall of Fame game. I know.
Hopefully it's going to be either Kyle Allen or Hendon Hooker. I think it'll be Hendon Hooker because I trust Kyle Allen as far as I did the Gay Butler.
Well, Jamie, I know they announced.
Rolling.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, JB, are you gonna be on tomorrow? Tomorrow morning. Hey, just in case you missed it, you can catch me every morning, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 on East. I'm followed by the guy next to me there, Smoking Jeremy B. He's on right after I am every morning. So after 10 in the morning, you got Smoking Jeremy B. talking line stuff. You can catch them both on Ken the Bear fan on X. You can catch us on the Huddle Sports Network. You can catch us on JB's YouTube page because we're both there, which is, what's the name of the YouTube page, JB?
Beat Cat Fighting with the Motor City Lions.
There you go. You can catch us both there. And then, of course, you also catch me on Wednesday and Sunday for Hal's Hall, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, Sunday at 11 a.m. Central, that pregame slot, or we talk Bears football. But, yeah, you can catch me and JB tomorrow on those outlets, and it's a fun 2 hours in the morning. Good way to start your day.
Yeah, I catch y'all when I can. But I retweet it every day, and then I listen to what I can in the morning because you guys crack me the fuck up. You crack me the fuck up. I laugh at y'all fools every time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know you got to love my fake sponsors at the end of my show, Big Off.
I want to wait. I wake up every morning. As soon as I get the notification, I'm like, okay, what are they going to fucking talk about this morning? Let me go in the bathroom and hide for 10 minutes and see. Yeah. That's my morning routine at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, if you want the link, let me know, man. I'll send it to you.
Well, I might be. I'm taking off for my birthday Monday. I might hop in Monday.
There you go. Yeah, we have a good time in the morning. The morning show is always interesting. I will say this: I've been happy we've stayed away from clickbait all summer, which is hard. Yeah, it's hard, man.
Yeah, because you get the guys that constantly comment it, so you eventually have to address it. But Ken's a lot like me. We sit there and go, "Yeah, that ain't fucking happening."
I mean, it's like I love it. Not to go on the tangent, but the clickbait is funny because it's like Jordan Love throws an interception. Oh my God, the season's over, according to clickbait. Or Jordan Love throws perfect pass. Oh, we'll just make him the MVP right now. All these little headlines we get during camp is like either they're extremely great or they're extremely terrible. Oh my God, the first round pick is already being benched by the head coach because of X. Like you're like, no, he's not. They were putting this stuff out before camp even started, how certain players were falling out of favor with Ben Johnson. I'm like, dude, they haven't been to camp yet. He hasn't seen him on the field. It's really hard And let's face it, guys, the NFL preseason doesn't give us much.
Nope.
Sure, we get to fall in love with third and fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh guys on the depth chart who aren't going to make the team, and then we're happy to make the practice squad. But it's really hard to stay away from the clickbait about your team in the preseason and in camp, because I'm sure Baltimore has tons of great clickbait right now with Lamar. It's always the same thing. Like
Isaiah Likely getting hurt today ain't clickbait, brother. I mean, he's going to be out for a while.
That's the only thing. And we talk about that. We'll talk about the injury.
I wish it was Lamar's way to buy or something.
Oh, yeah, but man, I'm in a keeper league, and somebody picked Isaiah Likely over Colson Loveland.
If they're lucky, he's not out for the season. If they're lucky, it's like he'll be back week 3, week 4.
And that's the unfortunate
no more camp for sure.
The only real news we have to report right now is signings and injuries.
Yep. And the occasional Major League Baseball trade, but mostly we talk football.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I really have to go. Could someone close this out, or
go ahead, Jamie? Do your thing, brother.
All right.
Try every day to be a better person than we are. Try every day to be a better person you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place, because I got to go too. Jamie, close us out, brother.
Thank you. You guys can follow me. Truly.
Jamie, hold on. Let me close out. Let Marcus close out. Let Rab close out. You're always last.
Okay.
Oh. Have a great night, guys.
All right, Jared. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Always.
Sports Talking In on Twitter. Jeremy's gone. Sports Talking In on Twitter, guys. You can get us here at the Driving to the Top YouTube channel. You can get us at Driving to the Top on Twitter. Every Tuesday night we do up mic. Tomorrow night we got me and Rich's show at 9. We got Jeremy and Ken's show, the Open Sports Talk. What do you guys call your show? What do you? I forget.
So we have House Calls at 7 p.m. Then JB's Roundtable starts at 8 p.m.
Roundtable, right. Roundtable. Yep. So everything's over there on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm good, and I am out. Jeremy, you can close this out, right? One of you three.
What?
One of you three can close it out.
We got you, brother. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody, have a good night, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Later.
You see that, Ken? That's when somebody has an actual job to go to. They got to go to bed.
All right.
Go ahead, Haas. All right, Joe. See you later, bro.
Later, Joe. All right. Well, you can find me on X at BigHouse337. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Marcus on the Go. My show On the Go you can find on X and Instagram at onthego_TXLA. Next stream will be Friday, August 1st. I'm going to preview McNeese's upcoming football season. May recap the Hall of Fame game. Shit talk the Astros maybe on the side. Shit talk the Dynamo and League face because they fucking suck right now. And I'm going to predict SummerSlam. But for a bonus, Saturday morning, I think we're still doing it. Me and Rich are supposed to get together Saturday morning to do our SummerSlam prediction show, so if you miss it on my show, you can see my picks with Rich and I on Saturday morning. I don't know what time. I think he said at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. If you get up that early, you'll find us talking that. But this is fun. I always love doing open mic. You guys do the shit. I always acknowledge every single one of y'all at the end of my shows. I say, subscribe to Driving to the Top. There's great content with the greatest people to talk your sports, talk your wrestling, talk your lifestyles, talk it all. I always acknowledge everybody in Driving to the Top.
All right, Ken, since you do the most talking, why don't you do and tell the people where we can find you at, Ken?
Oh, I did, but I'll do it again because, I like your app. And Hossa stuff. So you can find me as it says right there at Ken the Bear Fan on X. Every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central for Ken and Ken in the morning. We're going to get some special guests this week as the other Ken is on vacation. Tomorrow night being a Wednesday, we'll have House Hall at 7 p.m. followed by JB at 8. Also on Ken the Bear Fan X. Also on the Huddle Sports Network. And with the Huddle Sports Network, you can get us on your TV sets. Yes, my face can break your nice brand new 85-inch screen TV on the Huddle Sports app on Roku and on Fire TV. In fact, sometimes you can see Jamie and Ravi and some of the other guys as they come on, especially Jamie on JB's show. He comes on quite a bit. Also, Sunday, you can catch all NFL season. Actually, every week. We took last week off. At the pregame slot at 11 a.m., we have Hallis Hall Report. We'll always talk about the upcoming Bears game. And then you catch me here usually on Tuesdays, unless I get caught up. So yeah, and I try to share these guys on X as well. So, hang out with Driving to the Top, hang out with Driving to the Huddles, we like to call it in some cases. And we all have a good time, and then Ravi, back to you, brother.
All right. And all 96 of you, 98 of you watching, one of you could subscribe to the Ravery Sports Podcast on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, but especially YouTube. Trying to get my YouTube numbers up. So definitely check it out this week, tomorrow on the podcast. First training camp report. Well, obviously, we're going to talk about Isaiah Likely there tomorrow. Top 10 edge rushers in the NFL. We were doing our list all the way through the season. Who are the top 10 edge rushers as well? We're going to talk about Orioles minor league baseball, the Dominican League as well. So we're going to go ahead and recap some of the minor league system as long as with the Orioles report tomorrow. And obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the trade deadline that's happening as well.
What time
so
tomorrow?
Thank all of you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What time tomorrow?
8 o'clock. So it's 8 o'clock every Wednesday night. And on the Driving to the Top, if you watch it there, it's at 11. So it's on my channel first, and then I put it on Driving to the Top at 11. Go ahead, Jamie, our workhorse of Driving to the Top. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah.
When he's flexing.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'm the CC Sabathia of this channel, the workhorse of the generation. Anyway, you guys can follow me, yours truly, at Bill's Chat 1, at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on X, theforkball.com and stadiumrant.com, where I write about all sports. Joe Dalio and I just wrapped up our season 2 finale of the Subway conversation chat. You could go follow that episode that we did at this Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Maybe you could catch that episode on YouTube, and then you can catch this open mic episode after we're done tonight on YouTube, and we do it every week, Wednesday, 9 o'clock p.m. Joe and I, we're going to be taking a 3-week hiatus, and then on Tuesday, April 26th or August 26th at 8 o'clock p.m., we'll be starting season 3 of the Buffalo Sports Conversations. This will be to tune in for the season 3 premiere of that. Then you can catch also me, Ken the Bears fan, Ken the Packers fan, and Smoking and Jeremy B on the Huddle Sports Network, where we do the NFL Roundtable Talk at 9 o'clock p.m. You could catch us on your TV, Roku, or Fire Stick TV, and also Amazon. And then starting in February of next year, you can catch me back on Driving the Top Productions. And me, Marcus, Jeremy B, and we do a UFL sports show. So thank you guys very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our platforms and all of our YouTube channel, and and also Roku, Fire Stick TV, and Amazon. And then you can also follow us on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jamie Malloy, and we'll see you next week at 9 o'clock p.m. right here on Driving to the Top Productions. And this has been open mic night with Driving to the Top Productions. Good night, everybody.